What's up, everyone? Welcome back to this week's Pinball Effects Challenge video. Today we'll be talking about E.T. the Extraterrestrial. I'll talk a little bit about the movie and its impact on pop culture, and then we'll go over the leaderboard, and then we'll move on to another Steven Spielberg film with Jurassic Park Pinball. So we've been doing a lot of Steven Spielberg: Jaws, E.T., and now Jurassic Park. But I think that's the best way to kind of go through some of these universal pinball tables. So let's jump right into it, and let's talk a little bit about E.T. So I watched this movie yesterday, and I hadn't seen it in years. So it was a very nostalgic experience for me, but I'm glad I did. I was originally about to not watch the film because I couldn't find it anywhere to stream. But I found it, and I watched it, and I'm glad I did. So the movie came out in the early 80s in 1982, directed by, of course, Steven Spielberg. And the plot is fairly simple. It's about a boy who encounters this extraterrestrial in his backyard, and he must eventually help get E.T. and send him back home. That's the basic plot. But when I was doing my research, I found some interesting facts and kind of things that talked about the movie in a different way. And I think one of the most interesting ones was that a lot of films before E.T. that portrayed or viewed aliens kind of viewed aliens as a threat, right? Think about movies like Alien, right? The Alien movies and movies before kind of viewed aliens as this unknown mysterious threat to humanity. But E.T. kind of flipped that picture and narrative, and E.T. made aliens seem very deeply human, and it really kind of shifted the way we think about aliens or the unknown. So that was really cool. Another thing that is interesting about this film is how close it is to Spielberg. The concept of the film was actually based on an imaginary friend that Steven Spielberg created after his parents divorced. So I thought that was really neat that he was able to put that, perspective into this film and his inspiration. Divorce is a really a topic that hits close to home for a lot of people. So I thought that was really cool. And what's interesting about this movie is that Columbia Pictures was originally going to take the script, but they rejected it, thinking that it wasn't going to be a success. So that's how Universal Pictures got the IP. Universal Pictures bought the script for, I believe, $1 million, and they made out on their investment because the film turned out to be a really huge blockbuster and smash hit when it released. It even surpassed Star Wars from 1977. And it was the highest grossing film of all time, up until Steven Spielberg beat his own record with the release of Jurassic Park from 1993. So that's really interesting. You have this movie that beats Star Wars. It's the highest grossing film, and no other director or movie beats it until Steven Spielberg creates another smash hit with Jurassic Park. So that's really crazy. Not only was this film, a smash hit, but it won a lot of Academy Awards. It won Best Original Score from John Williams, and we saw John Williams with his really great score in Jaws. It won awards for Best Visual Effects, Best Sound. And as you watch the movie, you will start to notice that, at least I did, I started to realize there were a lot of references, and I thought inspiration from Star Wars and possibly Alien movies. There was even a Buck Rogers comic reference, so that was really cool. There's a scene where E.T. is looking at a comic, a Buck Rogers comic in the paper, when he gets the idea to build, the device to phone home again. And I did a little more research after watching the movie, and I found out that there was, a lot of inspiration, direct inspiration from Star Wars. There's a scene where you can actually, the Halloween trick-or-treating scene, where you see like a little Yoda, like a little kid dressed up as Yoda. And so that was really neat, made me laugh. And apparently, in one of the Star Wars movies, George Lucas included a reference to E.T.'s species. So it was kind of like directors kind of playing on each other's films. So I thought that was really neat. So you have, and definitely you have influences from the Alien movies as well. I think, yeah, Alien, what was it? The first Alien released in what, 75? I think 1975 or something like that. But it was a movie that was inspired from a lot of earlier sci-fi films, and you see that when you watch E.T. This film is also known for a lot of product placement. One interesting fact is that apparently Mars Incorporated turned down the product placement to use M&Ms in the film. There's a scene where during the film, E.T. is picking up the Reese's Pieces candy and following Elliot around the house and through the forest. And so Mars, who makes M&Ms, turned it down. And instead, Reese's, picked it up. And it turned out to be one of the most, marketed candy campaigns. And a huge missed opportunity for M&Ms. So that was also interesting. There's also a lot of product placement with other labels, like there's Coca-Cola. There's even a scene, probably a funny scene, when E.T. opens up the fridge and he starts drinking Coors beer, and he gets drunk. And so you see a lot of product placement. There's even other ones like for toys, and there's also the famous scene of the silhouette of the bike crossing the moon, which inspired the logo for Amblin Entertainment, which I think was the Steven Spielberg his studio logo. Oh yeah, and going back to what I said about how George Lucas included E.T., this E.T. species is apparently the Asagians, and you see the reference in The Phantom Menace. So, yeah. And what's interesting as well is that there was apparently a planned sequel for E.T. 2 called Nocturnal Fears, which would have been a much darker film, but Spielberg decided against it to preserve the original's legacy. And I'm really glad that never happened, because I don't think it would be good. I think this is a really great example of a movie that is done once and it doesn't need a reboot or a sequel. It's good as is, and it really holds up. And that's one of the things I noticed. You have a movie here from 1982, and as I'm watching it, I feel like it could have released today. The special effects weren't that bad. Of course, the biking scene, you could definitely tell there was, the green screen in the background was obvious, but for the most part, I think this film really still looks good today, just like Jaws. And I think that's what makes these Steven Spielberg films so timeless in a way. So that's basically, the biggest things that you want to learn about the movie E.T. It's just that it was one of those blockbusters that, released with a lot of merchandise and toys. It flipped the script of how we view aliens and extraterrestrials. Instead of viewing them as these threatening creatures, they became almost human and vulnerable. And I won't lie to you, but this movie made me cry. I mean, not like catharsis, cry like sob, but like I shed a tear, because it's kind of like one of those films that feels nostalgic, and it feels like something. The theme is, about compassion, not just. I think it goes beyond just aliens, but it's like compassion for living creatures, right? How Elliot feels that way for E.T., and you see a lot of this, life-giving compassion throughout the film when Elliot saves the frogs from his biology class, right? You see it in the flower when E.T. heals the flower. So there's kind of a healing effect throughout the film, a lot of healing motif. And of course, you had I forgot to talk about this, but you had a very young Drew Barrymore, which is interesting to see because, I didn't even realize it was Drew Barrymore until I read a little bit about the movie. But you had an iconic Drew Barrymore, very 80s inspired film. And it even inspired things like Stranger Things, where you have this supernatural phenomenon, this 80s tone. So it's a lasting legacy. And we talked about how this movie could have been purchased by Columbia, but Universal's picked it up. And then the huge Reese's Pieces marketing campaign. That was a huge missed opportunity for M&M's. I think M&M's would have been... I personally like M&M's a lot more. And I think because the company is called Mars, it would have been like better. But that's just it's an interesting fact about the movie. So Urko told me he saw the movie. We were talking about the movie. We were talking about some of our favorite scenes. He liked the Halloween scene. But yeah, E.T. phone home, right? E.T. phone home. So let's go over the tournament now. So we had a open tournament with 60 people. So a lot of people came out to play, which is awesome. And our first place goes to Gatvick with 91 million. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Congratulations to you, Gatvick. Great score there with one ball. I played this on Classic because I was trying to get to the Wizard mode. And I thought the Wizard mode was easy to get to, but it's actually a little difficult. And I was so close to getting there because I had collected all the pieces for the phone. I did all the mission modes. And I just couldn't hit the last hurry up. And then at that time, my game froze. So it was like, oh my gosh. But congratulations to you, Gapit, for first place. Going down the list with names I know, we have fourth place Jabba with 73 million points. Awesome score there. Very close to third. We have sixth place UTD 4000 with 41 million points. Below him, King Balchi 100 with 38 million. And then below King Balchi, we have my friend Urko with 34 million. Great score there. I almost beat Urko. I had in ninth place with 31 million. Going down the list here, Carpi Sun in 14th with 19 million. Bat Fink 76 with 19 million as well. Bad Jack Daniels with 17 million in 16th place. He's another regular in our tournaments. Pinball FX Fan, PFX Fan with 15 million. Glad to see Pinball FX Fan back in our tournaments. Midnight in 19th place with 14 million. My friend Wes. Going down the list here. Wombat in a Hat in 25th with 11 million. Fabled Scarab in 27th with 9 million. Close to 10 million. Going down the list, looking for names I know. Scott in 36th with 4 million. MK, shout out to MK in 40th place with 3 million, 53,000. Michael in 41st place with 2 million. And I think that is about everyone. So Shaitan Fu in 52nd place with 1 million points. Yeah. So thank you to everyone for joining in this tournament. Let's go on and let's create our Jurassic Park Pinball. Here we go. Public. Be a one ball challenge. Realistic. Unlimited players. Unlimited attempts. 6 days. There you go. Crossplay is on. And here is the ID. So that's in the description. And a little anecdote here before I get started. You know, as I was like preparing myself to watch the movie E.T. and, you know, get into the table, I watched an episode on Home Improvement, and the episode was about, you know, extraterrestrial sightings. And the neighbor, Wilson, Tim's neighbor, talks about how he saw, like, you know, an alien, like a UFO, and Tim doesn't believe him and kind of laughs at him. But just kind of funny how things are like just seem to make sense sometimes.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
All right, let's go here.
Land the ball in the nest.
Okay, land the ball in the nest. This is a fun skill shot. When you can get it.
Drivers with their electric, totally non-polluting, top of the line.
I wonder who, like, I don't know who did the score for this movie, but I feel like it was John Williams. I'm just gonna take a guess.
No, extreme intelligence, even problem-solving intelligence.
Ball one lock.
Land the ball in the nest.
And then also something I wanted to mention that Dom and I were talking about how Universal theme parks have taken away a lot of the old
Almost got it.
amusement rides for Jaws, Back to the Future, and E.T. Balls. Oh, there's a Magnus save. Okay, that's cool to know.
Dinosaurs left their blueprints behind.
Oh, come on. Oh, I used the Magnus save. Let's go.
I remember.
Magnus save activated.
Let's go. We got the Magnus save again.
What they got in there? King Kong?
Video mode is lit.
Oh, video mode in the center socket. Oh, it's not lit anymore. Oh no! Magnus save to the rescue. 2 times now. You know, I'm probably gonna watch Jurassic Park again. It's been a long time. But I'll tell you something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy watching these movies again and doing these videos. Like, it's really cool.
Pushing T, move in there.
I want tasers on full charge.
But something that I think, you know, Jabba was even mentioning to me was that why wasn't there an E.T. pinball machine? If it was such a good, I mean, it was such a popular IP. Was it the release date? The early 80s?
I want tasers on full charge.
You know what I mean? Where was the ET? Or how come Stern isn't picking up like the ET IP, or maybe Spooky Pinball or Jersey Jack?
Chaotician, actually.
Spinner Million. Okay.
Go for the spinner.
Oh no. Oh yeah. This mode is funny.
Sounds may confuse the raptors.
You gotta hit the utensils, I think. I got the Magnus save.
Hurry. 3, 2, 1.
Got it.
3, 2, one.
Oh no. Oh! That was a good game though. I had 3 Magna saves. Well guys, thank you for watching me play Jurassic Park on Universal Pinball and Pinball Effects. Yeah, I'll probably watch the movie, and that will be for next week. I don't know if we're like after this, if we should do the other Jurassic Park tables. Maybe that's the best way. But yeah, this will be this week's table. So hope you enjoyed. Till next time, catch you guys later. Take care.